Hi. Hold on. Hi, hello. Oh, my goodness. Okay, today, I'm gonna be nervous before I start every single one of these. I know it. Alright, today, we are doing a game review. For those who do not know, I am a professional game developer. Yes, this is actually true. Um, so, I want to review House. If I ever do any like AAA or bigger games, I'll probably be a lot harsher on them. For indie games, obviously, I'm gonna give them a little slack. Okay, shall we get into it? Alright, I'm nervous. Let's go. I didn't know whether to put this under just chatting or under House, but you know. Okay, go. So, first of all, I would like to talk about the gameplay. So, the positives, I think the puzzles were very well done. Granted, I spent a long time on a lot of them, but I never fault the game for that because I'm a little stupid. But anyway, I think there was a good balance of being very obvious about what was supposed to be done and making the player go through a bunch of trial and error. For example, like hitting stuff with the axe, like hitting the door with axe. The blocks on the door was usually pretty, or not usually, but it's pretty obvious. But stuff like dropping the bowling ball twice to get the rat trap and stuff like that, bear trap and stuff like that was a little less obvious but doable. So there were a lot of things like that, especially feeding the cat the milk was obvious. Not that you were supposed to know that the key was under it, but it was obviously something that the milk was there for a reason. Everything you can pick up is there for a reason. Except I'm sure the rubber duck had something. I'm sure there was something to do with the duck. Not that I ever figured it out. But yeah, because of that, I think the flow of the game went really smoothly once you got to know what you were doing. When you didn't know what you were doing, of course, things go a little haywire and stuff, especially with the timing being so strict. But that's the point of like trial and error, and it gave you a lot of time, I believe, in between each thing, so that if you weren't obviously trying to go to completion and you were skipping some steps just to try things, you could do that pretty easily. So even me, um, I was going through rounds pretty quickly. I think it took me about maybe, I don't remember how long rounds are, like 5 minutes max. But at the end, I could time myself pretty well and get to the place I needed to be. Um, I knew the exact order in which to do things so that I could save the most time, etc. So even though the timing is really, really strict, as long as you know exactly what you are doing, which is not super hard once you get into the flow of things, it's really nice. So I think they did a very good job on the flow of the game, despite the fact that it does feel very fast paced. It's not unfair. Next, the item and interaction. So there were like quite a few items, like the axe, bowling ball, slingshot, etc. And a lot of times when games do that, they will neglect an item or so, and it just sometimes you like forget what certain things are supposed to do, or you forget that you have certain things. But in this game, I think they had a very good balance of how many items you had, and obviously that includes like how long it takes to cycle through them. So how many items you had and the different uses for each one, but at the same time, stuff like the slingshot and the axe, I don't think they're ever interchangeable except for maybe hitting the vase or something like that. But it's the kind of thing where you could try multiple objects on one thing that you think you can interact with, and basically it's an extra step to solving the puzzle where they want you to do, again, trial and error in order to make things a challenge, I guess, because that is the point of a game. So then the interaction, since there were some games will like highlight what you're supposed to do, like it'll have a background around it, or like when you hover over it, it'll have a different thing. This one didn't, of course, because that is definitely part of the point where you're trying to interact with every single thing using a bunch of different objects, right? So while there were some things that were kind of, me personally had to think a lot, like, what in the world can I touch here? I think for the most part, A lot of it was really well placed, such as the flower pot in the basement with the rat. That was it's the kind of thing that like it could blend in with the background, but it was placed in the correct area of the map so that you would pretty instinctively walk over it and notice that you can pick it up. So there were a lot of things like that, the items, and then there were other things you could interact with, like the vase in the piano room that you could break and get the ammo out of. Granted, I don't know how much they could have done about this, but I really did not know it was ammo at first, and that's partly on me for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna give him a break on that. But yeah, and then in the rat room, how you get the other ammo, and stuff like that. Oh, especially the toilet, dropping the bowling ball on that. Since you can flush it, it's like, oh, I can interact with this. But no, you can interact with it further. There's more interaction. So yeah, I think they did a good job with that and made players experiment a lot, experiment with a lot of the different items on a lot of the different things that they may or may not be able to hit and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they did a very good job with that. Just, experimenting, going along with the flow of the game once you get it. And then combat. I should have put combat in quotation marks because most of the combat is running away, except when you're fighting the dad. I guess you probably could shoot more things, but and then you could throw the slingshot at the Shadow Men, but it's all good. It's all good. So the combat, I think, worked really well for what the game is, since it's a very fast-paced game, and you want to be running around all the time, and you don't want to have to stop and do something. I think that having the thing to do is running away from all the monsters worked really well in its favor, because if you had to sit there and like hit something with an axe 50 times, like I did to that Reaper in Subnautica, except that wasn't even an axe, but I think it would have messed a lot with the flow of the game if you had to go and attack things and decide how to beat them with, that kind of timing, because I would be very sad if I had had to fight an enemy and go after it, and then I missed one of the time triggers because I was in the middle of fighting it, or it dodged a move or something like that. So yeah, I think it was a very good choice to have everything be running away, except for, the father, who is the final thing. Once you, get that, there isn't much in the way of missing a time trigger, because that's, end all be all of stuff. There was combat in the time freezing, but again, there was no time limit. You didn't have to like hurry to do that. You could have taken as long as you want, as long as you don't get caught by a million things. Yeah. So then we have some negatives. I complained about the stamp system the whole time, and I will continue to complain about the stamp system. I did not like the stamp system. I understand having stamp in the first place, for sure. I did not like that it was quite that brutal. Granted, a lot of the times you could get away with running out of stamp, especially if you weren't being chased by something, but you didn't have to run out. They didn't have to make you run out so quickly, and then they didn't have to make it so long for it to recharge to the point where you can, run again or swing the axe again. The axe took a lot of stam. I think they could have done without the stam system. It didn't really I gave it a little more of a challenge to the game, but I don't think it really added anything. And B, if they did want to keep the stam system, I definitely would not have kept it so brutal like that. Like I said, it didn't really affect gameplay all that much that I can remember, but it was annoying more than anything, and that's kind of the thing you don't want to do to players, just make them annoyed without an extra really bit of challenge. But anyway, so then there was some times in which the hitboxes were not very clear. The enemies have very interesting, like this, running away from the rat. I don't know. Now that I look back on it, okay, but that's the kind of thing where it's like, I thought I was in the safe. I thought I was in the clear, and I still think I should have been in the clear. But your hitbox is bigger than I kept thinking it is. The enemies, and they're kind of weird because a lot of them are tall and spindly, so you can't always tell what is up with the hitbox. I obviously you want to be as far away from the enemy as possible, but it did definitely suck when I was like, oh yeah, I can get away from this rat, and then I absolutely could not because hitbox. If I'm gonna die to something, at least don't give me the hope that I won't die to it. Okay, okay. The last thing was the doll. I don't dislike the doll. Whatever. This is very specifically. I think the cycling through items was not horribly done. It could have been better. However, the doll, how you can pick it up and then when you try to cycle, you let it down and then you have to pick it and let it down. And I'm not even counting the fact that my, muscle memory found it hard to get used to. It's just, it is a very, very awkward system, especially for something that she added some interesting things story-wise, and I'm not mad about that whatsoever. I did enjoy her dialogue, but I think I don't know if I would say to let you use an item while you're holding her, but I definitely wouldn't have her like be put down when you cycle an item or something like that. It was a little bit it was pretty awkward. So for the total, I'm going to give the gameplay a 4 out of 5 for some of awkward stuff. The hitbox is kind of, a personal issue of mine, not the worst thing ever, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. And remember, my views are not final, and obviously, I mean, this is an opinion, but yeah. So, next. Art. This is what I can focus on. Gameplay and art are the two things I know what I am talking about. So, the 8-bit style. I'm a sucker for 2D, I will admit it. I definitely will give the benefit, not that I have to give it the benefit of the doubt here, and you will see in a minute. But yeah, I will definitely do a lot to get a good 2D, and I really liked this. I really liked the 8-bit, and I think the characters looked fantastic in it. With 8-bit, it's really, really difficult because you have to be absolutely pixel perfect for it to be readable and for it to look good, and this just did a very, very good job of it with the complex monsters and stuff like that. I can tell how much attention was paid to these specific pixels, and I think they did a very, very good job at it. It's easy to read when you just look at it for a second. The colors are all, like separate enough that it's, again, easy to read. You could look at it for a second and know what's happening, especially because sometimes, since the monsters are chasing you, you have only like half a second or a second to look at things. And I think they did, like I said, a good job with the silhouettes, readability via the colors and design, and I just really appreciated that. So then, animation. Oh my god. Look at this smooth-ass animation. Look at this shit. I love it. I love it. I love the animation. It's so smooth and so good. Granted, I really also like what do you call it? Sticky animation? I don't know, where they skip out on a lot of the keyframes that you don't really, really need. I like the look of that. But also, oh my god, this is so smooth and beautiful. I adore it. I really, really like it. When I first saw one of the deaths, I was like, oh, this just looks so good. And you can't tell as much when the character is just walking around. Not like you can't tell, but you can't tell as much. But, when it gets to like a death like that, oh, it looks so good. It looks so good, especially doing so smooth in 8-bit. I really, really respect that. The artists, I thank you. I don't actually know how many people worked on this game. I don't remember, but thank you, artists. Of course, I don't remember why I put this in art, but rats. I like the rat, as you will see later. And now I like the rat. So for the art, the issue is the monsters are kind of, I really like them, first of all. I like them in general. However, they do get kind of samey. Let me see if I can go through my slides and find it. So I like them, but they're all kind of tall, spindly humanoids. So they do have the benefit of the fact that I love tall, spindly humanoid monsters. Let me see if I can move out of the way so you can see that one. So they do get a pass from me on that. However, they do kind of look a bit samey, despite the fact that it does work out pretty well in general because they are so... Not that they're so unique every single time, but they're in such specific places where, and they all kill you. They all kill you. So if you see a monster, you just run. In that case, I do appreciate how big they are, but They could have had more variation in the monster designs. Granted, it would be very hard since 8-bit and stuff like that. But I believe that the team could have done it with the amount of effort and just how good the monster designs looked in general. I believe the team could have done a more creative job on some of the monsters and done it well. So that's both a compliment to the team and so I forgot to get a screenshot of the but so when Tabby first walks out of bed, her leggies, she doesn't have feet. At least I don't see it. Maybe her feet are like pointed down. But for a second, I was like, you can see how her legs are thin. Obviously, it's 8-bit shit. When she was first getting out of bed, I was like, what the fuck is that? And then she put on her shoes. I was like, oh. So, like, I'm not docking points for this. I'm not docking points for that at all. But it was kind of weird. I don't know, it was just funny. God, I love the animations. Look at this. Look at this. All the deaths were so good and so different. I really liked it. I mean, granted, different, like, a lot of things eat you, but there's such a unique animation for everyone. I mean, this one isn't eating you. The animation is such a treat. I really liked it, and it was definitely worth it to, I'm actually talking about this in a minute. After this. So, story. I really like the amount of complexity versus simplicity they had. Oh, for art, I give it a 5 out of 5. I really like the amount of complexity versus simplicity that it had in the matter of it's a very short game, so they couldn't really get very complex with it, or else it would have just been confusing and it wouldn't have worked out. But they did manage to do a time looping thing, while also pretty much, I can't think of any real ends they needed to be tied. I mean, most of the answer was because it's the curse of the house. But you know what? It's like a, 3-hour game? I think I probably spent a lot more than that. But in general, it's probably a 3-hour game. So, the curse of the house is fine. It explains enough things. I have no issue with it. So basically, it's complex enough to be interesting. And even though the characters obviously don't have much dialogue, they are given somewhat of a personality. Like the doll is, the doll, I don't know why the doll is mean to the snail. I don't know I guess because she's like evil or whatever, but yeah, I do think that it was fun. So yeah, because the complexity of the story really did well compared to the length of the story. I wouldn't have wanted a more complex story, and yeah, it was enjoyable. It wasn't the main focus of the game, which is totally fine. It wasn't supposed to be. So yeah, no, I think they did a good job with that. You can befriend the rat. I don't think there is anything better than being able to befriend a rat. I can't think of anything they possibly could have done to make me happier than befriending the rat. And then it just talks to you, and then we're chill, and it won't eat you anymore. So yeah, I only noticed because the doll was like, you don't have to kill him. And I was like, I don't have to kill him? Yeah, and hold on. I'm gonna wait until it restarts. You can see when he eats the sandwich instead of me, I get a little heart. Hold on. Restart. Okay, there we go. Look. You see? It's a little heart. He likes you. I understand he was very hungry. Sometimes you're really hungry. You just have to eat whatever comes into mind. I probably wouldn't eat a human, but that's just me. Maybe if I was a giant rat, I would eat a human. I don't know. So, you know what? I was mad that the rat killed me quite a few times because of the hitbox. But in general, rat. Okay. Now, the horror. It was less jump scares. There were, I guess, a couple-ish when things would come out and kill you, like, immediately. But not so much death. Not so much jump scares. It was mostly focused on the gore, which I really like gore. So that was a plus for me. That is actually kind of why I played this game, because I was watching someone else stream the first part of it, and I was like, ooh, this animation looks smooth, the gore looks fun. So I, when I saw that it was a puzzle game, I had to stop the stream. I need to go back to it. I need to go back to that person's stream. I will do so. And I had pointed out here, the deaths are all really uniquely animated and stuff like that. The very creative stuff and very unique stuff. Like there's the rug that just pokes spikes up at you. I guess not everything is unique in the fact that a lot of the monsters just eat you, but I think this one was really fun. I would definitely go in and die to things on purpose just to see what the animation and the death look like. So that, that's a good thing when you just go in like, okay, I can't wait to die because I cannot wait to see what this looks like. So I think that's definitely a plus. And, I'm the kind of person who's more tempted to do that kind of thing anyway. But I definitely find it a plus when you go into a game so interested in what's happening that you go and get killed on purpose. So, yeah. Again, I really like the monster designs. They were, like I said, very samey, so that's both a plus and a minus. But especially when it comes to 8-bit, like I said before, it's very hard to make things unique. You have to be pixel perfect. You have to know exactly where to put everything, and I think they did an extremely good job of that. I think the monsters look great. The monster designs in and of themselves, I have no issues with. I just think that they could have done better on the side of that they are kind of samey a lot of the time. Not all of the time. The rat, and then I forgot to put the fridge monster here because I'm dumb. No, that one's also kind of a tall, spindly humanoid. And apparently there is a frog that I never got, which is interesting. I found that looking at the wiki, looking for these pictures, the gifs I took myself. But yeah, I never killed the frog. Granted, I did have like 2 endings left because I messed up, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So in general, monster design, excellent when we're taking it just at face value. I'm giving horror a 5 out of 5, story 5 out of 5. Bugs, oh yes, and Daddy's. Did you ever play the rest of the endings? No. No, I will. I'll go do it. Since I can just look up how to do them, I'll just do it on my own. I don't think it's worth a stream because it would be like, what, 20 minutes? So unfortunately I did not, but I will. I didn't like delete the game or anything, so whatever. Anyway, I forgot that I put this, of course, when it comes to monster designs, Daddy's home is Daddy. You can't get better than a father who stabs you in the face, can you? A father who melts you with his blood. Can you? No, the answer is you can't. I like it. I like that he's, well, I didn't like the combat when he's separated into 3 parts because, ow, but I did like the game design element of him taking 3 hits to kill, and every single thing was a different thing with all the different animations, and it killed you in different ways. I love it. Bugs. It crashed a couple times. It wasn't while I was in the middle of doing anything, so it's not like a huge deal. It was a little annoying, but the game is so light that it didn't take very long to boot back up, so it's not like when Subnautica crashes and you lose however much time before you save, since this game is very short loops. It didn't really matter, and it didn't crash in the middle of me running or something. I would much rather the game crash than have my running glitch out and me not be able to escape some monster because my running glitched out for whatever reason. So, yeah, it crashed. Not a huge deal. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 because it's an indie game. Indie games crash, whatever. If this was like a AAA game, like I said, crashing a couple times would be... I would judge them a lot more on that because you have so many people to test that with, and the game would also be way heavier. But for an indie game, 4 out of 5 because, yeah, there were bugs. Meh. My overall rating for this game, sorry, we are coming to a close. This is a not very long game, so not a very long game review. My final comment is rat. I like the rat, if you couldn't tell. But on a serious note, I don't remember if I paid for this game or if it was free. I think it might be free. Regardless, if I did pay, it was only a couple bucks. So I would definitely suggest buying it, trying it out. If you see this stream before, if you have seen this game review and have not watched my streams on it, I would suggest going in blind. But even if you, going in blind is definitely the best way to do it. I think it would still be worth it just to have the feel of the immersion if you have seen a stream of it. But I would definitely suggest going in blind. You can look up the endings and how to get them. Well, you can look up how to get the endings. It's not horrible. I mean, I might have cheated a little bit, but I would say only if you get very frustrated with it, like I sometimes do. But I would definitely suggest do it on your own, blind, experiment, etc. That's what the game is for. It's all about experimenting with different parts of it and seeing what weapons, what, etc., etc. Okay, I think, hi, that is it for today. 25 minutes. All right, that's not so bad. It's not so bad. Yeah, I had a fun time putting this together. I hope people had a fun time listening to it. My next stream is tomorrow, probably. I might do some like 2 a.m. stream of Pokemon Pinball. I keep saying I will, and I keep being lazy. Partly because I'm playing Genshin so much. Maybe I probably won't stream Genshin. It's just me running around and solving puzzles like a dumbass. Yeah, so my next planned stream, at the very least, is tomorrow, 6 p.m. CST. We are drawing again. I am drawing Xiao as a Catboy in a maid outfit because I am a very self-indulgent person. Yeah. Okay, I think that is it. You can just treat Genshin like talk streams. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Yeah. No, I definitely do like doing that. The only problem is when no one's there and I'm sitting there like, I'm talking to myself, which isn't horrible. Yeah, maybe I'll do it. We'll see. We shall see. Voice. Anywho's it. Good morning to any morning people. Good evening to any evening people, which is me right now. So I'm gonna say good night, but I'm not going to sleep at 6:30 in the p.m. And goodbye. Peace, y'all. Hope you enjoyed my game review. I really like making them. Goodbye.